and welcome to Souls in Motion. We're back again today, Ursula and I, and we're going to talk about a couple different topics. The first one is we're going to begin to acknowledge and gently release inherited pain. And what does that mean? What does it look like? We're also going to recognize how pain becomes a future message or offering to you. And what does that look like? So, Ursula, let's get started and get right into it today. Can you give an example of inherited family wounds or patterns repeating across generations and how we can release that pain? How can we let go of some of the stuff that's happened? Like what's going on there? And what does it have to do with that inherited pain that we're carrying?
Well, it's one way to put it, inherited. We're inherit things because we accept them. Usually it's triggered by childhood abuses, whether it's physical, sexual, emotional. It doesn't mean not the abuse has many faces. So something that can damage one individual won't damage the other. We are different souls. We are differently uh, prepared for life challenges. So when you are facing and are developing certain difficulties, since let's say usually it starts showing in a teenage when everything in this physical body is changing hormonally. That's when lots of the trauma surfaces because we are most vulnerable. The stage when we becoming we are no longer children and we are no longer adults. It's a very, very crucial part in our lives. And that's when the pain comes up. That's when drinking starts, drugs, because you are more aware of something, but you still can't face it. So you want to numb it. That's when different parties start. And from there, it slides faster down. That's when teenager rebel against parents. They don't want because they blame them. Sometimes might be rightful blame. Sometimes it's not because even if it wasn't the parent that abused, in a child's mind is the parent that is supposed to protect and love. And if some way or the other they fail, let's say mother doesn't see that father is doing something, it means there are two issues to deal with. One is abuse itself. The second one is a betrayal. And I find in my work that betrayal is the toughest one to deal with because it cuts you the deepest way. When you have trust and that trust is shattered, it's very hard to rebuild. When adults, when something happens, often that destroys the relationship, businesses, and stuff when trust is violated.
So is that like trust as in it could be someone hurts you or harms you or physically abuses you as a child. And then you realize, as a child later on, you may have forgotten. And then you realize, wow, I was sexually molested or I was, really harmed
You
by
might
an
not
adult.
even know, you might not remember consciously, but
Right.
the emotional pain is there. It's because often when someone abuses a child, not often, always, it is either sense of guilt or shame that the oppressor puts on that child. So you are a bad girl. That's why I'm doing it to you. You deserve it. You made me do it. So child can be child is open tabula rasa. It has that computer that has no programs. This becomes a programming. This becomes built-in shame so that the child abuse hardly ever will go and tell anyone. There is also taboo of this is the family, we have to protect each other. And so the child suffers in silence because the child desperately, like all of us, wants to be loved and cherished. Well, if it doesn't happen, it becomes with the process of hormonal imbalances and adolescence, then it becomes the wave of anger. Most of the time, you don't even know what is hurting you because it is felt, it is not thought or processed mentally. That's why people come to me so that I can take them back and unlock and show them why I am so angry, why I am so fearful, why I am doing it to myself, why I am destroying myself. And it's because someone down the road long time ago told you, you are a worthless piece of shit. You deserve it. You are bad. And so if you tell a child you are a bad boy or a bad girl, that's when they actually start self-punishing. So you see children cutting themselves or hurting, or they are aggressive. They are throwing it in or they are throwing it out. It doesn't matter, it's the same damage. So, and then teenagers start cutting themselves because they still on a level that the emotional is disconnected from the knowing and understanding, no, this is not my problem. I didn't do anything. I was just a child. This is what my work help people to see. And we can cut faster to those times because then you're standing and you're seeing yourself being abused or molested or beaten or terrible things people do to children, whether their own parents or strangers. And that's when they see, I was just a little 3 year old. I couldn't do anything. I'm not bad. And bringing that innocence back forth helps them heal and detach and see, no, those were the people with problems, not me. And you tell the child you are behaving badly because behavior is a choice. When you tell a child you are a bad kid or bad boy, bad girl, it means something is wrong with you. There is rejection, there is abandonment, there is the way of feeling unloved and unwanted and unimportant. And that's why we have those, the load. And once you see the load, say, hey, get that shovel and shove it out. It's not yours. And just identifying the problem with the time or quantum moment when it happened sets you free because you are realizing I am a special being. I am loved and I I wasn't punished. I was just not able to understand. It wasn't my doing. It was someone else's. Those are the moments when we learn to take responsibility in our hands. And I've seen healing incredible, incredible. Like from the first case in my book, it was 7 hour, 7 days, 7 days, 7 times, over 2 hours sessions, very intense, so intense that I had my box of Kleenex and the client had her own. It was pain that was showing in every possible way, overweight. It was the problem with lungs that was untreatable. There were antibiotics and all that. Nothing was helping. She had a cough as someone who has a third or fourth stage of tuberculosis or cancer. And she couldn't handle the job. She couldn't, her marriage was falling apart and everything was looking gloom. She was always sick physically because understanding that disease here is disease in the body, that we are creating or co-creating the disease in our bodies, of course, unconsciously because we don't understand the process. So making my job is to show that process, take people through the process, show them and detach them. And so the soul says, okay, I chose that. And so what do I do from here? Well, I want to work with children. I want to help children. I want to work with system that is allowing, the children learn to be removed from abusive environments and stuff. So when you are aware of why you had those lessons, then you can turn them and that negative becomes a, a, a propping you forward with ideas that you can help the other ones so they don't have to go through this horrific way. Whether you are teaching, preparing young parents to be parents, that's why the proper counseling before people become parents would be very helpful. Helping these people understand maybe they have some other harm themselves that they're going to be projecting on the children. Children are very impressionable. So mother is angry because she's dealing with her stuff and then she's dumping and she's more short-tempered, and she might say something that is offensive and hurtful to a child without even realizing it. It's not ill will, it's not being evil, but it's simply being individual in pain that doesn't really think or feel who they hurt by lashing out. And so understanding that and actually looking at the problem from within lets you free yourself. And then you're saving people around you, you are saving yourself from years of suffering, pain, crying, insomnias, you name it. I have seen tons. So with that client, it took 3 sessions when the cough stopped completely. Why the cough was there? Because her love chakra was completely blocked. So she was choking with her life. She had suicidal attempts, probably 5 or 6 prior to our first meeting. She was wearing dark clothes. Um, she was basically saying, I just want to close my eyes and I want to die. It's the saddest thing to hear from anyone. And yet, on a 7th session, well, we went through the process of her abortion that was forced by court at the age of 11, when the spirit of the removed child was hurting within because it was very painful process in the 5th month of pregnancy. So she finally took the little clothes that she had all these years, 38 years, and she took it to the mountains and she finally set herself free. Her husband came to thank me for saving his marriage because she says she got the job, she lost weight, she was wearing a beautiful, bright clothing. She says, I am here. I want to be seen. Before I was in the dark and I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be touched. Most victims of sexual molestation and abuses, they build a tower around them. So depending where the weight goes, usually when the weight goes around the center and a hip for a woman and thighs, that's right away there was severe abuse, and we can all shed it. We don't. Once you look at this and what was it, what it did for me, how I can use this for bettering myself and then helping others so that pain can be saved in general. This is when you win the battle. There is, the expression, no pain, no gain. When you see society that is living in a semi like illusion, because it is illusion that they have relatively, rolling economy and no challenges, no wars, what happens to society? We stop growing. We stop being passive. We start being consumers. We just want more. We start filling up the void with stuff because the TV is telling us, because of commercials are telling us, because of politicians telling us that we need stuff. We don't, because I always tell people the void within cannot be filled with things outside of us. And so that void is lack of self-love. And that lack of self-love is still because the young soul needed to learn how it is. How do I love myself? How the children learn? By observing. So if there is a relation between parents that is not presenting love and care and respect, how this child is supposed to know how relation should be? They don't. Therefore, from abusive relation, you go into abusive marriage. You marry your abusive parent, whether it's a father, mother, it doesn't matter. So child, I had a case of a child. Child doesn't reason the same way as adults. They don't have this analytic part of their brain developed enough to figure it out for themselves. But when the parent dies, child has the same feeling of abandonment as if the parent would walk away. Child doesn't think, oh, my mom didn't abandon me, she died. No, that's not going to be happening in their psyche. It will be, I am abandoned. They don't want me. They don't love me. even though the parent is dead, not out of their guilt or circumstance. But that's how it is. And so when we are so vulnerable and so innocent, we need the most protection at that time. We need the most teaching and directions and sense of acceptance and love, that it either you grow up to be a very rich, beautiful, rich, I'm referring to a rich within, but when you are successful and positive, you have unlimited ways to make your prosperity, your richness in this 3D too. So success, like I out of these thousands of people I've seen through over the years, I had two people who were doing very well. They didn't come to see me because they were broken, because they were lost. They came because they needed certain skills in. One was traveling across the time zones and needed to learn how to sleep because he had problems with jet lag. And the other one was a woman who was from very successful, very good family, great marriage, two little children. And she was weighing whether should I be here because I have children and husband, or this lucrative career that was somewhere else that required to be absent from their lives. Otherwise, people don't come to see me when they are flying high. They come to see me when they are on their knees. So sometimes I see people who are on a helping field, and but they are broken themselves. So sometimes I say, how many one can save when one is on his own knees? How many you can live from their knees when you are on your own? You can't. We have to, people who are in a helping field, we have to understand that no one is made of the clay that is not untouchable. We have to be strong, we have to be focused, and we have to protect ourselves, because during the process you can walk into a very, very dark places, and you, no matter how well protected, there is always a place when something can sink in. And it happened to me. So understanding that there is always more you can do to protect yourself, and make a habit. Like if you are forgetting, then write it down, put it where you can see it, put it on your nightstand, put it on your fridge, put it on your kitchen counter, that you can see it all the time. Remind yourself.
Let's just go back for a second, and you said so many things, and let's unpack a little bit of it. One of the things you said, you talked about like children and then being a teenager and then becoming an adult, and we go through phases in our life. And, it's so funny. When I was younger, I remember people used to say, I can hardly wait till I graduate. I can hardly wait till I get to grade 12, because then I'm not gonna, I don't ever have to learn again. Like that's it. My learning's over, because they associate learning with school, and that K to 12 kind of school. And then some families, it's like, okay, well, no, you have to go to university, and you have to still, again, once I get out of university, I'm never going to have to learn again. And, but really, life is a whole journey of learning. And we talk about this releasing inherited pain. It sometimes doesn't happen immediately overnight. Like things do not just, okay, we go to a session here and a session here and something happens. And because that pain is a lesson that we're learning, those things that we came here to learn sometimes will repeat themselves again and again until we really get the lesson, until we really understand it. But as we get older, we still realize we still have learning to do. Like we don't stop learning till we leave this planet. That's my belief. I think we're still in that learning mode right through until we decide to cross the veil and go to the other side. And this dying, well, I don't believe we die. I think we pass to another place. We go somewhere beautiful, and we're going somewhere, that is going to be a different soul purpose and a different reason. But so that whole learning piece, like you talked about. And when you're releasing the inherited pain, you talked about letting go. Let's talk about that for a few minutes, because that is a hard one. You can go through the sessions, you can put people through the sessions, and but they have a piece in that. Like they have to be willing to.
Oh,
So let's talk
absolutely.
about that for a
So,
minute.
well, what I do, I just open that hole. So that, like the ulcer, I puncture the ulcer so the pus can come in the pressure. But it is a process. Healing is not a snapping of the fingers. So I cannot heal anybody. Doctors cannot heal or cure anybody. Medicine men cannot. It is us, because tapping into who we are at the same time shows us what we can do and what we are capable of. So what I do help with clients so that the process of healing continues. I give them one of my meditation brought me my guide actually directed me, and he called it 7-day letter, and which is very good for anybody, even if you don't come, but you do it. I can guarantee you it's going to help you to release lots of that uh, you know, cover up pain that is wanting to explode and disintegrate you. What I tell people and how you do it, it is the paper becomes your psychoanalytic. So the letter is also never meant to be sent to the one that you are writing it to. It is for your emotion release. So sit down in a certain type of the day, whatever suits you better, evening, mid, doesn't matter. It's your choice. Close your eyes, take few deep breaths that we were telling you about in the previous session. The inhaling, it goes through your nostrils, goes down your tummy, your diaphragm goes down, your tummy puffs up. And when you are exhaling, you're pushing your stomach in slightly and pushing that breath. When you are inhaling, your energy flows from the pineal gland down to your coccyx on the outside of your spine. It's actually visual, probably will help you to do it correctly. And when you are exhaling, the same flow of energy goes up, but on the inner part of your spine. So once you take few of those deep breaths, your eyes are closed. Let's say it was your father or your friend, or it doesn't matter, your ex-husband. And you close your eyes, think of that someone, and then go in time back and see and think of good things. And then go to the worst things that happen. And I want you to stay in that place for a long enough to start bringing back emotions. And then having a piece of paper and you write by hand, not by typing, because you are connecting directly. Everything flows through you, not through your fingers and not through processor. You are a processor, and you start writing, because those emotions are just so whatever needs to come out. If you need to call these people names, you need to cry, you need to scream, make sure that you are in an environment that you can do it, and just let it go until you feel tired. Put that letter away, and next day the same, approximately the same time, do exactly the same thing. Go back and then evoke all those emotions and bottle up things inside and do it again.
Are you writing to
Address
the same person every day?
the same person. You
Okay.
don't write two different letters to two different people. You write to one. Focus on the harm, the pain that came from that source. It's something that you might not understand, but you will understand as the process goes. And then you complete that process 7 times. On a 7-day, most people report to me that there was not much to write, that they felt indifferent, that they felt okay. And most of the time, you are actually writing, I feel sorry for you. I truly do. I hope you have a good life. I am letting you go. I'm releasing you. And this is as close to forgiveness as you can bring, because forgiveness is a basic need that has to take place for healing to take place. And those letters can be folded together, taken outside, burned, crap, like broken into ashes and put under any kind of tree to fertilize the tree. This is when you are actually, this paper is your, as I said, psychoanalytic. It helps you to get it out. And it doesn't matter. They are not supposed to be sent because they are not for the other side. They are for you. And so often I tell people to observe, if they have an ability to observe that other part, the father, mother, who knows, ex-husband, that when we come to this life, our karmic connection is like this. If we don't have a hook, the other hook catches up and we are in a struggle. But when we let go of our hook, that other side has no means to cling on to us. And that's what I call releasing the karmic lock and letting go and freeing yourself from your karmic recycling or energetic connection to somebody. Often people would report that the people who they had a conflict with actually started to act better. They started to be more decent or, just kinder. And that makes sense because energy flows. There are no boundaries when energy doesn't flow through. So if we are sending that energy of a good faith, of good feelings, and rather than anger and resentments and hate, it's felt on the other side. So their aggression on a low vibration gets the higher vibration and then goes higher. So by itself, helping ourselves, we are helping them as well. So if we are capable of doing that, it means we are growing and we are understanding why are we here. We are here not to fight, not to kill. We are here to reach to each other, laugh together, eat together, because people don't understand that if you have a food, even if it's a piece of bread, but if you put your hands around it, close your eyes, and you say, I am sending love, energy of love and health into this piece of bread. That piece of bread frequency goes from here to here. And when we are putting in our body something that vibrates high, we are vibrating higher.
It's
So,
funny you say that because when I'm making a meal and I'm going to take it to people, I do that. I always say, oh, I'm sending love to this meal and I'm going to make this with love. And it's going to just feel like it's just like all my love poured into whatever
yeah.
meal I'm making. And, often people say, wow, this is so good. This is so good. But I'm just thinking, well, you're eating my love. Like,
Well,
it's
because
just
you
kind
put
of,
because you put the most important spice, it's love. What
yes.
is bionic cooking and why bionic cooking is so important. When you are angry, if you are not wanting to do something, do not go to the kitchen. Because even if you create fancy looking dish, the energetic that dish does not have nourishing part that it should have. Also, bionic counters, they are on a height of your second chakra, connected
Hmm.
to your tummy, where the food goes there. The energy of sharing comes from there. So if you are doing and you are singing when you are doing this, simple things we can change in our behavior daily, it changes everything. People feel, oh my gosh, that was the best food I've ever eaten, even though I made that dish before, but I made it with the right spice. And the right spice, like for everything, is love. There is
And you can
no other
pour it into
way.
everything. This whole idea of forgiveness is a big topic. I mean, it took me years to realize and understand that forgiveness isn't for someone else. It's for me. It's for me to let go of like you're saying, that whole bond, that hook. It's to let go and release the hook. The forgiveness is a big piece of that.
You know
And
what
so
is helpful? What is
mhm.
helpful when I ask people who said, no, I will never forgive him, I hate him, I ask, how are you hurting that individual? He's gone. He doesn't even remember you. He doesn't even care what he's done to you. Who are you hurting by what you are feeling? Them? No. You are self-destructive. And that's probably when in your work, that's a good question to ask.
Yeah. I mean, I I mean, I read tons of books, different books about forgiveness but really it's so simple. It's just really not a complicated thing. It's just choosing, like you said to me before, we have choice in life, and that's the biggest gift we were given is
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
And we can choose to forgive or we can choose not to. But if we don't choose to forgive, we have to remember that we're harming ourselves.
that's
It's
right.
not about the other person. And, I love the 7 day letter. I've done similar things like, letters and burning letters and doing things like that. And that's just a really good exercise for them to try, even
Yeah,
because it will help release that inherited pain as well.
yeah,
That whole inherited pain that they've got will start to go away and start to, you can do the techniques with you, which is faster and quicker. And some of the things that you do are just gets people through their pain faster in some ways. And I know I've had a session with you. I understand how quickly it can, you can get through some things that you didn't even realize. Like for me, I went in not even realizing what I was going to come out with, but there's all kinds of modalities and all kinds of different ways, and that's what we're trying to share here is the different ideas, different ways that you can heal, but it's all about you healing yourself,
that's right.
not about other people healing you. It's finding the ways that will resonate with you. What's going to make you feel good? Do you feel good about going over here to a chiropractor, or do you feel good about a physiotherapist? Or do you like the massage therapy? Or do you like, what Ursula has to offer? Do you like, but, everybody has gifts and sharing those gifts, in whatever way it is. Now, I think what we need to do is we need to take a look at energy that's not ours. Just quickly today, look at that because it does have to do with releasing inherited pain. And sometimes we're carrying around this energy that isn't ours, and we have the power to let it go. So can you talk about that for just a few minutes?
Well, yeah, there is also another aspect I haven't mentioned yet. The energy and the things, the pain, the anger we feel, that's actually not ours from the other side. It means sometimes those that go, they don't really go. Their energetic imprint is still attached. So it's not in a higher dimension, it's between dimensions. Call it ghosts or the ones of departed ones, souls, lost souls. And I had cases that people says, I felt good. My life is good. And all of a sudden, I don't want to get up from bed. And so I always take people through, like, when did it start? And to the place when something happened. There's always an event, whether you are at the site of the accident, when you went to hospital to visit somebody, but in the next door, somebody just died. So the dead is not really dead. And so often the higher source, like in physics, the heat from hotter place goes to the one that is less hot, so to even out. So those entities, souls, they vibrate low. They need to get energy because we are electric beings. So we basically sucking that electric energy from somebody. It's called attachment. And we can take that tail home without realizing. Just next day, we feel depressed, we feel pain we've never felt before. Perhaps somebody got broken in an accident, all of a sudden your whole spine is aching and you have no explanation. That's another reason why we can have feel pain that is not ours. We start thinking thoughts that we've never thought before and even say things that's not like us, like totally opposite. So people even notice it. You notice you look in a mirror and at times you kind of don't recognize the face because essence and who we and how we shine outside is actually what comes from within. This uh, what you call situation has three different stages. So it's a shadowing. It's when someone is attaching to the outside of our aura and we kind of drag it. So if our aura is strong, it's far enough not to affect us. Then there is the sneak in because there is maybe a pain somewhere which is vibrating lower. Those are the funnels and tunnels that whatever it is outside of us can sneak in. That's called obsession. And then when that thing that's snuck inside our aura actually start using our bodies as well, and it can project the physical pain, even can bring memories that we never had a reason to have because we never experienced something. And that's when the full blown possession takes place. So no matter what it is, it drains you out, it drains your batteries, you are tired, you are short tempered, you don't want to talk to people, you just want to be in a dark room. And that's because something else tells you to do that, because they need to be in the dark in order to be hidden. So often when I have someone taking appointment and I know there is something attached to them because it's automatic, I know when they will call and cancel appointment, and I know it's not a client canceling appointment, is whatever it is attached and is afraid that it might be removed. However, when I work with people and I directly communicate with that energetic existence that is not aligned with that individual, they get help. They understand that it is not, they're not going to be thrown out. I actually treat those beings the same way as I treat my client that is here physically. I help them understand the process. Often they are not even aware that the transition took place. Their awareness stays exactly where it was. It's not magically changing. So if you were in a place when you were unconscious, or you died violently, or in accident, or under anesthesia, or overdose, that's when you are still thinking you are here in this dimension, in this physical life, but you are not. What makes you angry is that no one responds to you. You can scream, you can shout. Sometimes when you are angry, you throw somebody's picture of the wall. It is as real as headache or heart attack, and it's more common than flu. I have seen it more often than not. So then I help the dead and I have the living. So I work with consent from both sides. I can't kick a spirit if they are not willing to go. I cannot release the spirit when the person from which it is to be released doesn't help work with me and doesn't give me consent, because this is what I compare it to. There is a space, and even though the tumor was bad for you, you're going through the grieving process because you lost something, even that something that is not good. So you need to fill that space with yourself. So that's why it's so important to do meditation and prayer, seeing yourself growing and feeling growing, especially inside your chest cavity. That's when you will feel your spirit expanding the most, and probably the easiest way. And because that void, that vacuum, can actually suck something else in. So a work has to be done. It's not like what I do, I remove the tumor, but you go home and you eat junk food. It means you are not helping yourself to heal. When I give you what it needs to be done, it has to be followed, because it's again, it's a process, it's a healing. I remove the tumor, I remove the spiritual being, I help them to go to the right spot, but you have that hole now inside. And if it's connected to any type of abuse that came from personal life of experience, then you have a double whammy. So work has to be done. I mean, the uh, you know sitting within yourself, actually going within yourself, and taking mentally a bright flashlight and just seeing yourself shining in every nook and cranny within you, in your mind, your heart. And if there is any darkness, you will be, and that's a practice. You do it every day, twice a day. You go for a walk, you do the grounding, you put the positive, good, high 432 hertz music. There are certain medications, let's put it that way, in a quotation mark, that needs to be taken seriously in order for healing to continue and then to complete.
And,
So
you know, so you can see things, and like, we're not all as gifted at this point or have the gifts that you'd have, right? So when we're the average person out there, can manage their frequency and their energy, if manage their own frequency and energy. And it really is just becoming aware of when you start to feel uncomfortable. That's
Well,
that.
I tell you when, because usually when we talk to ourselves, this is how we talk. I think I shouldn't be doing this. I think I want to do something else. But when something else that is not you talks, it was, are you stupid? Get the hell out of here. So, but when something else, the voice in your head, and if you pay attention, you will see the difference. That other voice will tell you, get out, you stupid bimbo. You always get yourself into the stupid place. You always get. This is somebody else talking to you, something else talking to you. And it's important that even if that voice is that way, we are actually consciously monitoring it and consciously changing it. So confirmation when you are doing your prayer or grounding, you write it on a paper if it's better and you feel more confident. I am safe, I am healing, I am going into the right spot. I am within me. There is no place for anything else. So if there is anything else, I order you to go. So people can do self uh, free themselves once you know how. So
Mhm.
it's that's what I want people who maybe
And you
not
can
able
teach
to.
people, like you teach
Yes,
people some of
yeah,
those techniques and
yeah,
things to do.
yeah,
But okay, so we've covered a lot today, a lot of different things on releasing that inherited pain and generational pain. You talked about the back generational pain and pain that we have daily and throughout our life and different techniques. You gave us the 7-day letter that people can go and practice and do on a daily basis. Just rewind this video and follow the directions that she gave you on that.
yes,
You can watch it again. And that whole protecting yourself, making sure that you're protecting yourself and
yes,
keeping yourself protected. Because energy is, it's all so much about energy and what's going on. And especially in today's world, we really have to learn to protect
stress,
ourselves.
yeah,
We have to learn to be, people say thick skinned, and I don't think that that's the way to do it. I think
no,
you really have to think about wrapping yourself in that white light and keeping yourself safe and making sure that you're safe on a regular basis, which we'll talk about in other video. But today I think we've covered so much and different topics, and we've gone through so many different things again. So now we'll close it up. Next time, we're going to be talking about other topics. So we're going to go into the beliefs and the guilt that keeps us small. We're going to move into that. And we're also going to talk about rewriting the internal script, which you were just talking about, that script inside. You were talking about it from a different level, from an energetic level, but it's like rewriting it from that mental ego place of what does that look like. So we'll talk about the teachings and how to express and expressing yourself, etc., in the next video. So we still have a lot to cover, but we're getting there. So it was a great, great session. And thank you again, Ursula, for
thank you.
being, giving and just giving to people. It's just so nice of you to do that.
It's pleasure to help as many as I can. And through your videos, Judy, I can reach more than from my just me in 24 hours a day that I have. So
Yeah. And that's what I think
by
we're all
by
meant to be
learning,
doing.
yes. And the
Yeah.
book, I would suggest that my book can actually help people to understand and identify and know what is the way to help themselves. So
For sure. And that'll be in the comments in the description on
yes,
YouTube. That'll all be there so you can, go take a look at the book. I am telling you, I read that book and it was so good. Just going through it, I learned so many different things about things I'd never even heard of or thought about. And the one thing that I did look at was, okay, I'm going to just keep my mind completely open here while I'm reading this book because I've had so many belief systems around all of the different spirituality and what
yeah,
that means. And
yeah.
I just wanted to stay open to possibilities and different things. And it really did open my eyes to so many things.
Well,
But
opening our eyes, Judy, would help us to unite because no matter what
yes,
differences are, we can overcome them. We can say, okay, this is European mind, but we still are equal beings and we still can do good things for each other.
And we're
That's what is
learning. And,
important. Yeah,
not one of us have the same journey. Nobody will have the same journey you're having. And
yeah,
so that's why we have to really suspend that whole I know everything. And my belief is the one to go after. And I'm the smartest one on the planet. Let
yeah.
go of it, guys, because none of us are. And
No,
none of us know everything. And we are all learning from each other. And collectively, as a community, we can really help each other. So
yeah.
thanks again, Ursula, and we'll see you in the next
Thank you.
video.
See you next video.